Welcome to the Workplace Violence Prevention e-learning program. The material is provided as an optional resource to independent owner-operators. Owner-operators are independent employers, and each is alone responsible for the employment matters at the restaurants he or she owns and operates. Thus, your franchisee may choose to use all, some, or none of these materials in his or her restaurants. Most of the time, guests receive a positive experience when visiting your restaurant and are satisfied with the service they receive. There are times when their expectations are not met, and people become upset, frustrated, and even angry. Although rare, there may be times when conflict occurs between employees and guests. This program aims to raise your awareness of common incidents and provide some strategies for dealing with situations safely and effectively. It will also consider each person and set of circumstances is different, so it is important to assess every situation before approaching people and taking any subsequent steps set forth in this program. Do not put yourself or others at risk. The safety of employees and guests is a priority. Everyone has a role to play, even if it is just making someone aware if you notice signs of potential conflict or antisocial behavior. Should incidents occur, it is important that they are reported appropriately as directed by your owner-operator. To obtain further information on the topics raised in this program, you may contact your supervisor, human resources, or owner-operator. Section 1. Reducing risks of workplace violence. Workplace violence happens when you are abused, threatened, or assaulted in circumstances related to your work. Click on each of the buttons below to learn more. Abused. This includes any verbal abuse directed against you personally that makes you feel upset, concerned, or alarmed. Examples include insults, swearing, and shouting. Threatened. This includes any other threat of violence or intimidation against you, either by words or gestures. Examples include someone moving close to you in a threatening manner, or making threats, such as saying, "I know where to find you." Assaulted. This can be a physical act or an immediate threat of assault. More common examples include pushing, grabbing, scratching, striking, spitting, and throwing objects. Your owner-operator is strongly committed to providing a workplace that promotes the health, safety, and productivity of his or her employees. Your owner-operator expects employees to treat each other and those with whom they conduct business with courtesy, professionalism, and respect. Your owner-operator strictly prohibits violence, threats of violence, and other conduct that jeopardizes or harms the safety of employees and others in the workplace and during work-related activities, including company-sponsored events. Workplace violence can take many forms and could come from anyone, both guests or on occasion other colleagues. Select each image to find out where workplace violence could come from and who it might affect in our restaurants. Acts by criminals who have no other connection with the workplace but enter to commit robbery or another crime. Directed at employees by guests, students, vendors, or others that use our restaurants. Directed at coworkers, supervisors, or managers by a present or former employee. Incidents in the workplace involving a person who doesn't work there but has a personal relationship with an employee. For example, antisocial behavior. This term describes a range of behaviors that can cause harassment, alarm, or distress to our employees and guests and may include people begging or overstaying in restaurants, challenging behavior linked to intoxication, that is through alcohol and/or drugs, unruly behavior by groups of adults or young people inside or outside restaurants. Such behavior can cause discomfort and distress for employees and guests, create conflict between guests or between guests and employees, deter customers, increase risks of violence, especially when people are intoxicated, It is important to recognize that the people whose behavior seems challenging may be experiencing difficult circumstances and be vulnerable. When you talk to them respectfully, you will experience less conflict and be safer. Safety and security is everyone's responsibility. Every McDonald's owner-operator employee has a responsibility to help reduce the risks. There are a number of things that can be done, and it is useful to think about proactive and reactive measures that can be taken. Click on the buttons below, starting with proactive. Proactive measures. Proactive measures are things that can be done to prevent something from happening. Click on the buttons below for some examples. Being familiar with your owner-operator's safety and security policies and procedures. Using security equipment appropriately. Delivering exceptional guest experience. Treating everyone with respect and dignity. Being observant and informing a supervisor or manager about potential issues. Reactive measures. Despite our efforts to prevent conflict, emotional and challenging situations may still arise. In these cases, it is important that you do your best to prevent them from escalating through the use of your interpersonal skills. This means your ability to acknowledge the problem, calm and defuse, resolve or hand over to a manager, security, or police. In higher-risk situations, this also includes having an exit strategy to remove you and others to a safe place. Emergency procedures, such as calling for help, that is, another employee or manager, or activating hold-up or duress alarms where applicable. Reporting incidents and concerns. Personal safety tips. Concerns. If you have concerns about your safety at work, traveling to or from the restaurant, then speak with your immediate supervisor. Travel. Consider traveling with a colleague. Change travel path to and from work. Call or go to a safe place if you feel you are being followed. Be alert. Be alert on leaving the restaurant of people that may present a risk. If in doubt, return to the restaurant or another accessible place of safety. Can you recognize which of the following would be proactive measures to reduce the risk of workplace violence? Select all that apply. That's right. You selected Section 2. Reacting to conflict situations. To approach or not to approach. Every situation is different, and our response options will differ according to the risk. It is important in all circumstances of potential conflict and antisocial behavior to ensure the personal safety of yourself and others. Be vigilant to rising situations and, where possible, prevent them from escalating early on by providing or accessing assistance. It is equally important not to judge or discriminate based on what you believe is happening, but do not know for certain. Situation assessment and safety. It is impossible to accurately predict all situations, particularly if we fail to identify a potential risk. It is important to consider the risks before rushing in. The POPS model provides a simple approach in identifying risks in varied situations. People. What do you see and notice about the person or people present? How are they behaving? How are they dressed? Is anyone else present that may take their side and present a threat to you? Could the person simply be unwell or in need of your assistance? You must consider the impact upon the persons involved, yourself, guests, and other team members. Object. Are there any weapons around? Innocent objects that could be used as weapons or thrown. Place. Are you inside or outside? Can others see where you are? Ensure you have a safe exit route and consider where you would go if you needed to leave quickly. Situation. What time is it, and can you get assistance if needed? What background information do you have, and is alcohol fueling the situation? Sometimes quickly dealing with the situation yourself is the most appropriate option. When considering your response, you should acknowledge. If dealing with a conflict situation, acknowledge the guest's concerns, listen to them, and confirm the main issues. If you identify a problem developing, such as antisocial behavior, then you should acknowledge this by drawing it to the attention of a manager as soon as possible. Offer a solution. This could include handing the situation over to a manager or offering to deal with it yourself. Implement and follow up on the solution. Show the guest that you are actively taking steps to solve the issue without delay and reassure them. Display a positive, non-aggressive approach. Be aware. Give people space and ensure you have a route to safety. Don't get in their way. Don't get angry. Stay calm, or ensure that you appear calm, and try not to take things personally. High-risk factors. High-risk signs to watch for include intense eye contact, abuse focused on you personally, increasingly vulgar or threatening language, your personal space being invaded, pointing leading to physical contact, square-on posture, weapons such as knives or firearms. Exit strategies. People often stay too long in a potentially dangerous situation because they can't see or think of a way to get out of it. An exit strategy is quite simply a prepared reason for leaving a situation. You should have a reason ready so that it comes to mind quickly. It needs to be something that will not make the situation worse. Emergency protocols. An emergency can be defined as any incident that is serious enough to demand immediate action. Examples could include immediate danger of physical assault to you or another, robbery, suspicious items, firearms or other incidents involving a weapon, such as an active shooter. Robbery or active shooter. Some situations can be very dangerous. For example, if a person has a weapon like a knife or a gun. If they are carrying out a robbery, it is important to follow your owner-operator's guidance on robbery and comply with the robber's demands. Your safety is more important than money. In the unlikely scenario of what is sometimes called an active shooter, it is important to follow your owner-operator's active shooter guidance. Your safety is the #1 priority in an active shooter incident. Remember, evacuate, shelter, protect. Call 911 and/or warn others if safe to do so. Select each icon in turn, starting with evacuate. If there is an evacuate, leave your belongings behind. Now click the Next button to return to the previous screen and choose the situation is not possible. Find a place to hide where the active shooter is less likely to find and/or get you, ideally somewhere the active shooter cannot see or hear you, that can be made secure or barricaded to keep them out, offers some protection against gunfire, that you could escape from if necessary. Consider turning the lights off and keeping phone on, but now click the Next button to return. As a last resort, and only when your life is in imminent danger, you could attempt to disrupt and/or incapacitate the active shooter. When the shooter is at close range and you cannot flee, your chance of survival is much greater if you try to incapacitate him or her. Follow the instructions of law enforcement officials at all times. Reporting and recording. Immediate needs. Well-being check. Ensure that everyone involved is physically safe. Consider first aid needs. It is important to report and record all incidents, however insignificant, following your owner-operator's recording and reporting procedures. Team debriefing following incident. Avoid placing blame and focus on facts. Record all incidents. Can you recognize the reactive steps from the list below that would enhance safety in conflict situations? Select all that apply. You did not. That's right. Select from the following list some of the signs that may indicate a situation is escalating to high risk. Select all that apply. You did not select the correct. The following signs may indicate a situation is escalating to high risk. The guidelines provided in this module will assist you in preparing for the unlikely event of an active shooter incident. In an emergency, please contact 911. Summary. Click on the buttons below to view a summary of some key takeaway points from this course. Don't rush into situations. Take a moment to consider the risks and get assistance. Remember, every person and situation is different. Politely hand over the situation to a supervisor if you anticipate conflict, and always be ready to move to safety. Everyone has the right to use our restaurants. Treat everyone with courtesy and respect, even if you disapprove of their behavior. Well done, you have completed this module. You may now close the window to exit.